In this section, I will display employee data. I go to the home page widget, which I created earlier. At the end of the render method, there is this div which displays the title of the selected nav. How about I replace this by two specialized widgets, one for each type of data, like this. There's an employee data widget and a trips data widget, and both have a visible property which is based on the state content. These widgets don't exist yet, so Prompto is not very pleased. So I create them. I need to provide a render method for each of them. I'm going to use the existing code for now. I copy the CSS and I make this return the value. Now, I don't have a state anymore, so this is employee data, so I change the title. Same for trips. And save. Now, how does that look? Oh, both widgets are displayed. Oh, but that's because although I set a visible property, I am not using it in the render method. The CSS way of showing hiding a div is the display attribute. So let's read that visible property and convert it into a display attribute. So we read the properties, which returns a document. The properties contains the visible attribute that we passed through here. We know this visible attribute is a Boolean, so we cast it. And then depending on its value, whether it's true or false, we're going to set the display property and assign it to the CSS here. Let's do the same for the trips data. Save. And now if I refresh the page, oh, much better. Cool. Now I can specialize the employee widget. I get rid of the H2 welcome message. I improve the title and I add a bootstrap table. In this bootstrap table, I put a header comprising 3 columns, one for each interesting attribute. How does that look once I save? Pretty neat. Now I need to populate the table body with 1 row per employee. I don't have an employee list yet. Let's create one for quick testing. I create an employees list, see the square brackets, with 1 employee with an ID, a first name, and a last name. Now I can code the table body like this. For each employee in this employees list, I'm gonna render the employee. Prompto is not pleased because there is no render employee method. I create one. And to render the employee, I return a table row. In React, every repeated tag needs a key such that it can be uniquely identified. Here, I use the employee ID because it's guaranteed to be unique. And then I render the employee attributes, employee ID, first name and last name, in line with the column headers. How does that look? Cool. What I want to display though is the real data, not test data. Remember, we imported 9 employees in the previous section. To make sure I only fetch the data when required, I will store the result in a widget state. For this, I need an initial state with an empty list of employees, as follows. getInitialState returns an empty list of employees. I then create a method to fetch the employees. The method body is very simple. Just fetch all employee, then with employees set states. What I'm doing here is fetching the employees from the store asynchronously. This is denoted by the keyword then. When this code is executed, it will send the request to the server and return immediately. And only later, once the employees are received from the server, the setState bit will be executed. This ensures that the UI remains reactive. The best time to call this method is the component did mount React event handler, where I call the fetchEmployees method. Now, in the render method, instead of using the test list, I can use the employees from the widget state as follows. Does that work? Wow, this is really cool. It could still be improved though. I can order the list of employees by last name. How do I do that? Let's save and check. It just works. Let's add two buttons at the top to delete and import employees. Let's start with the import button, just after the employee list h3. So now I need an import employees method. There it is. So remember this method, store employees from CSV sample that we created in the previous section? We call that method asynchronously, notice the then keyword, and once that is done, we just go and fetch the employees again. Now the delete button and the delete employees method. We need to fetch the employees from the state to tell Prompto which employees to delete. So we delete employees, then fetch employees again. Let's try this. Delete, import, it just worked. This is incredible. I didn't have to create any web service to encode any fetch query to serialize or deserialize any data. I just saved hours of coding. In the next section, I will input trip data. Watch out!